Hello, my name is Mooncat and welcome to my guide to Forge Point and Goods Focus designs for the Harvest Farm set. I've already made a video going over some attack focus designs, so if you haven't seen that yet, the link is in the description. Alright, in this video I'm gonna focus on Forge Point and Goods Focus designs, so let's again start by looking at the buildings we'll be using. And again, if you're already familiar with the set, feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps in the description. Alright, so we will not be using the Harvest Barn. Again, it's even though it does give forge points and goods, and quite a lot, it is quite inefficient. You do need all the other fields connected for it to give all of these rewards. And you also need level 4, you also need to level it up a couple of levels, so in terms of efficiency and the amount of forge points you get for each selection kit, it's better to focus on the fields. So we'll be using the sunflower patch. As you can see here, it gives 3 forge points when it is connected to 2 other set buildings. And it's 3 by 2, so even though it's among the bigger fields, it's quite small. It does need a road though, so that is something to keep in mind. We will not be using the Primrose Bloom, but we will be using both the Wheat Field and the Ochre Yard. Though unlike the attack sets, in this case we'll be using these as filler buildings in order to get the bonuses that the main buildings need. So both the Autumn Scarecrow and Begonia Bench, both the 1x3 buildings, are the main buildings we'll be using. The Autumn Scarecrow gives 15 goods if it is connected to 3 other set buildings, and the Begonia Bench gives 5 forge points when it is connected to 3 other unique buildings. They do not need any roads, and also one thing to keep in mind, at least for the goods one, this will automatically level up to your age. So when you age up to a new age, this will be current age goods. That's something you might want, so that is something to keep in mind if you want to go for some goods focused designs. Alright, now one final thing before I begin, let's look at this Wikipedia page, Forge Point Building Efficiency. Let's see how efficient current buildings are, so we have something to compare this set to. Now the most efficient buildings, quite unsurprisingly, are the main rewards from the settlements, but excluding these, because we can only get one of these, the best buildings, as you can see here, gives around 0.75 forge points per tile. Or from both of these, you get 3 forge points for 4 tiles. Now going beyond that, see you get 0.63, a little bit less, and then there's 0.5, 0.5, and so on. So the absolute best, the target that we're aiming for, is around 0.75 forge points per tile. So with that, let's jump into the classic designs. These are the ones that I recommended last year, and these are well known already, and they're still very good, though I do have some slight improvements in a little bit. But quickly going over these, I also like to call them the 3x designs. They are 3 wide, and you can stack them as high as you want. So the basic design only has 5 pieces. It uses 2 begonia benches to get 5 forge points each from those 2 buildings, and you also get 3 forge points from the sunflower patch. So in total 13 forge points, which is 0.62 forge points per tile, which if you remember is very close to the most you can get, which is 0.75. Now, this is how that would look in your city. I have this in one of my farms, where last year I was able to get enough pieces for this. As I said, you only need 5 pieces, so very small, very easy to get. One thing to keep in mind, this will often get plundered if you're not active. I don't really care about that on my diamond world, but yeah, something to keep in mind. Now, this can be extended quite easily. All you do is add another 3 1x3 buildings with another 3x2 building on top. And here you alternate between sunflower patch and wheat field, alternate all the way up. So that way all of these 3 buildings here are connected to both a wheat field and a sunflower patch. And also they are connected to each other, so the begonias here are connected to an autumn scarecrow in the middle, and the autumn scarecrow is connected to the begonias on the edge. So all of these get 3 unique set bonuses, so we get the maximum amount of forge points and goods from these. Alright, but as I said, I do have some improvements, so let's look at those. But before I do, quickly, the sunflower patches do need roads, so keep that in mind. Now, let's look at some improvements. Now, these are quite big, so if you're just starting out and you don't plan to spend a lot of diamonds, you're probably not going to be getting these, but perhaps next year, or perhaps from the antique dealer, you'll be able to pick up kits every now and then, and you might be able to do something like this. So here you'll see that we start off with the classic design in the middle here. So that's a very nice jumping off point. You might start by getting this, and then you keep on expanding as you get pieces. This entire thing here requires 31 pieces, which is a lot, but at the same time, for the size, it's not that much compared to other sets, which often need multiple levels for the buildings, but here you don't need multiple levels. Now, this design here gives 0.82 forge points per tile, and as you'll remember, the best buildings in the game at the moment, excluding the main settlement rewards, give 0.75 forge points per tile. So with this set, you're able to get better than the best forge point buildings in the game. So 4 forge points, as with attack, this is simply an amazing design. Now, the basic idea with this design and all of these designs in this page here is that you have the classic design, and then you have another row of either the classic design or here a slightly alternated classic design with 4 begonias in the middle like this. So here you get a lot of forge points, and all of these are connected to 3 unique set buildings, quite surprising perhaps. But yeah, this one is connected to the sunflower patch here, the ochre yard, and the autumn scarecrow here. This one's connected to both of these two, and the autumn scarecrow, and so on. So yeah, this one very efficient and actually not too bad to get. You can do it in stages. You can start off with this, and then you could add this, for example, these 6 pieces up here. Then when we get more, you could add these 6 pieces, 5 pieces here actually, and so on. So it's not too difficult to expand either. Slowly expand as you get pieces. Now, an alternative to this is this here. Is more or less the same, but instead of on the edge here only having 2 1x3 building, with this design you have 3 buildings. So here you add an additional 2 begonias and 2 autumn scarecrows. You swap out the ochres with wheat fields. So here you get slightly more forge points. It's slightly less efficient, though not by a lot. So it's basically up to you what you prefer. This one here, yeah, you have need 4 more pieces, 4 more selection kits, and for that you get an additional 10 forge points, although you do need another, another 20 tiles for those 10 forge points. So, up to you if that's worth it. It's a little bit more rectangular, which might make it easier to fit. Though again, keep in mind these sunflower patches, these need road connections, but that shouldn't be too difficult. Now, if you want to compromise a little bit between attack and forge points, you could go for something like this. What you'll notice is the same design as this, but instead of having the sunflower patches on the edge like this, you swap those around with the wheat fields. You put the sunflower patch in the middle. This means you will not get the forge points from the sunflower patch itself, but all the other forge points you will lose some from the edges, of course. So this one here gives 80 forge points compared to 92 here. But in return for that, you do get more attack. Here you get 80 combined attack, and here you get 44 combined attack. So up to you what you prefer. This is one compromise building that you can use. Now, as I mentioned, or I think I mentioned, when it comes to goods buildings, the designs are exactly the same, except you swap out the begonias with autumn scarecrows. So here, instead of having 2 begonias, you have 2 autumn scarecrows, but other than that, they are exactly the same. This design here, for example, gives 1.43 goods per tiles, and it also gives a respectable amount of forge points. As you extend it, you get more goods, more forge points, and so on. It's exactly the same story as with the forge point designs. And again, you can do the same thing here. Instead of focusing on the begonias, you focus on the autumn scarecrow. Here you can see that this one gives over 2 goods per tile, which is very nice. And as I mentioned in the beginning, these buildings will automatically level up or age up when you age to a new age. So this is a very nice option if you want some stable resources that you'll be able to use as you age up, so that you don't have to rely on other sources of goods. So if you are an established player, or goods shouldn't be too difficult to get, but this is an option if you want to focus on goods. And same story here, you could go for some alternatives if you want. Alright, hang on. What's that? Can you hear that? That's right, ABBA are back after ages. So let's celebrate by some ABBA designs. We have this one here. We have ABBA, 2 autumn scarecrows, 2 begonia benches, squished between some wheat fields and ochre yards, or you could perhaps swap those out with some sunflower patches for some more good forge points, sorry. But yeah, these are some very cool designs, I think. Celebrates that they are returning. But yeah, they are a very nice compromise between goods, forge points, and attack, if you want a mix of all three. They are actually quite nice, though. If you want to compromise between, let's say, forge points and attack, or goods and attack, I really wouldn't go for these. I would probably go for something like these. But then again, I would probably stick to either forge points or goods or attack and go all out for those. But here are some options for some compromises. Here you can see that we have either some begonias or some autumn scarecrows in the middle, with a bunch of wheat fields or ochre yards in the center. So this is a nice option. Another option that I currently have in my city, which is more focused on attack, but nevertheless is a little bit of a compromise, is something like this. This is an interesting option as well. That gives you some forge points and some goods as it is connected. So this is an interesting compromise that is more focused on attack again. So yeah, there are some interesting compromises, but I would probably either stick to all out for attack, or all out for forge points, or all out for goods. But yeah, these are some options if you want them. Now, in my previous video, I mentioned that I recommend spending your diamonds on the fall event if you plan, or if you want to increase your attack. Now, in that video, I also mentioned that if you're going for forge points, I still recommend going for the fall event, but I didn't really go into that. So I thought I'd take the time here to quickly go over why I recommend spending diamonds on the fall event if you want to increase your forge points. Now, here are the forge point designs for the Halloween event. It starts off with this here. It requires 11 pieces. For that you get 12 forge points, or 0.6 per tile. Now, the main difference here, this is slightly less efficient than the fall event, though when you improve it, it does get close to the classic design, so 0.71, which is very close to the classic design. But the main thing that makes this worse, in my opinion, than the fall event set is the resources needed to get this. So first of all, in terms of forge points per selection kit, when it comes to the fall event, as I mentioned, you can get up towards 3 forge points per selection kit for that set. Now here, you'll see that you get slightly above 1 forge point per selection kit, which is, it's nice, it's not bad by any means, but compared to 3 forge points, it's much worse when it comes to, forge points per selection kit. And also, as I went over in my last video, it's much easier to get these selection kits in the fall event. Now, from my testing in the Halloween event, I needed to spend around 800 event currency, 800 tickets for each additional selection kits beyond the free ones for this set here. Now that is equivalent to around 3,000 diamonds per additional selection kit. That does not include toys, if you're familiar with the event. So to be generous, let's say you could get this set for 2,000 diamonds, or each selection kit for 2,000 diamonds, for example. That means you'll get around 1 forge point per 2,000 diamonds you spend. Now compare that to the fall event, where you should probably be able to get one selection kit, roughly speaking, every 1.2, 1.3 thousand diamonds. If we spend 2,000 diamonds there, you should be able to get something like 5 to even 6 forge points for those same resources. So in terms of forge points per diamond spent, the fall event is probably something like 5 to 6 times better than the Halloween event. And the selection kit and the set layout is slightly more efficient. So yeah, if you're going for forge points, I strongly recommend going for the fall event. Now, there is a difference. In the fall event, you are going for daily specials, but in Halloween, you're going for the grand prize. So you might be wondering, if I go for Halloween, are the daily specials better? Or if I'm going for fall, is the grand prize better for forge points? But here they are roughly the same. The grand prize in the fall event is not great for forge points. You get 9 forge points for 24 tiles, which is quite bad. But when it comes to daily specials in the Halloween event, they're not that great either. You can get the Abandoned Asylum, for example, which gives 11 forge points for 25 tiles. Or you can get the House of the Demon, which gives 6 forge points for 12 tiles. So these are, a little bit better than the fall event when it comes to forge points. But again, it's much easier to get the grand prize, or it's a little bit easier to get the grand prize in the fall event compared to getting daily specials in the Halloween event. They're roughly speaking the same, actually. So yeah, these kind of cancel each other out, but because the fall set, the daily special, is much better in fall than the grand prize is in Halloween, I recommend spending your diamonds in the fall event. Now, if you're simply playing for free, go for both of these, and you should be able to get 11 selection kits here anyways from the Halloween event, so I would go for this anyways if you want forge points. But yeah, if you want to spend more beyond the free resources you get, then I would do that on the fall, not the Halloween event. Alright, so I will end the video here by thanking my Patreons. I would like to thank Homestar for your support, as well as Merrick B, PQ the Goat, and Arkler. And I would like to thank Rocco and Henrik der Klerberg. Thank you very much for your support. If you want to support me, the link is in the description. Take care, and I will see you in the future.